Let's take you to this. Residents of Roshnee and Rustervaal have called off planned protests over power cuts this morning. The community accuses the municipality of deliberately cutting them for up to 20 hours per day. Now, councillors say this is due to load reduction, which the community is aware of. But eNCA reporter Manqoba Mchunu joins us live now to give us more on this and also the reason why this protest has been cancelled. Good morning to you, colleague. Yesterday, we saw angry, concerned residents lamenting to those 20 hours per day load shedding schedules, which they say are unacceptable. But we understand that protest has been called off. Why?
Well, Dumela, we understand certainly that the residents have now decided to call off the protest that was meant to resume this morning. And one of the reasons is because the residents are saying that they will want to give those promises that were made by the eMfuleni local municipality mayor, Sipho Khatebe, who was here on the scene here just behind us yesterday afternoon. He had come to listen to some of the concerns that these residents had been raising as far as the issue of outages is concerned. Of course, the big concern for residents is that they go for hours on end without power in this area, even when it's load shedding. After load shedding, there will then be a tripping of the system, which will then leave them in the dark for hours. Some of them saying that over 20 hours in a day. That's just how much of outages that they've been experiencing in this community. And the mayor had spoken to the residents yesterday, saying that they're going to take some of those concerns. He accepted the memorandum that they handed over to him, where they raised some of the concerns, not only over power, but also issues of service delivery in this community. It is one of those communities that has also been affected as far as some of the issues, the potholes, the water issue that residents were also raising. So they've now decided that they're going to allow for the mayor to come back. He made promises that he will return to this community within a week to give them an update. But residents saying that even after the mayor had left, they went back to houses that were dark. There was no power, and in fact the same issue had happened yesterday, where after load shedding again they saw those outages continuing here in this particular area. But the issue, they say, is not yet resolved. But let's just get an update from one of the community members here just on what is happening with regards to this particular protest. Shanice, thank you for your time. Just let us know, firstly, we know that yesterday, even after the mayor had left here, you went back to the streets because of this issue.
Yes, shortly after the mayor had left, round about 6 o'clock, we were expecting the electricity to return. It came on again. It took another 1 to 2 hours for it to be restored. But once again, they're saying that no, it's because when the electricity does go on and our geysers and all the other equipment, it takes a lot of electricity, is still on. It takes 100% of the electricity, then it makes a trip. But that's not the problem. We spoke to the mayor. We asked, can we have this issue resolved, please? We gave him his 48 hours, and now the community is asking, may we please be exempted from load shedding? If that is what trips the electricity, then every time after load shedding it goes off again, then let us be exempt until you come back to us. So for the next 48 hours, we are asking not to have load shedding, if possible. But obviously, it's possible. We spoke about the other communities who do not have load shedding. So why is it then that we cannot have the same?
And in terms of the issues, do you think, though, that they are being resolved?
No. If you look at the other parts of town and the complaints that they're having, I mean, it's going for 6-7 days that they're without power. We're not having our issues resolved. We have houses in Roshnee, houses in Rustervaal that have been complaining as well. Every time load shedding is over, still they sit without electricity. Some say that the electricity never came back. And when we ask, they say, no, they can't come through, their trucks are broken, and eMfuleni hasn't paid them, so they can't send out the contractors either. So it's an ongoing story. And I feel like the more we protest, the more we fight, we're still not getting anywhere. I don't know what it is that we need to do. Yesterday, during the strike, some of the people asked, is it possible then to make the premier come out? Because we're not getting anything from the mayor. The mayor yesterday was so afraid to come out and speak to us. He wanted to sit inside the police van and address the people outside. So how can we have incompetent leaders that even fear their own people that they must represent? We're not going to get anywhere. I feel like this problem is not going to be resolved if someone from parliament or someone from the local government doesn't come here and hear our cry.
Let's talk about some of the assurances that you've been given and what's going to happen then with this protest.
He didn't give us any assurance. He just said to us that he will get back to us within the 48 hours. We tried to speak to his spokesman that was with him. He didn't give us a chance. They both just wanted to get away from the community. And they both uttered that they fear for their lives. So what were they fearing? Who do they represent then if they fear for us? So they left here saying nothing. Basically, they said nothing.
So still no solutions?
There's no solution. There's no solution. And nobody can then blame us if we go back to the streets after 48 hours because we're not seeing changes. I mean, right after he left, there was no changes. Yesterday, when I got into the police van to go and read the memorandum for him, because he didn't even want to read the memorandum, the technicians were inside as well. What were they fearing? So, we're not going to get anywhere. And why are you fearing the people of Roshnee and Rustervaal? Because we told you it's a peaceful protest. All we want is our electricity issues sorted out. Please.
So they're saying that one of the problems is the overloading, the burden on the grid itself here, the power station, or rather the substation that supplies you. They're saying that also the issue of non-payment is one of the issues when it comes to these two communities, and they say that they have load reduction here. They've implemented that because the system simply cannot cope with the demand here in this area. What do you say to that?
It's funny. I watched the interview that you did with the spokesperson, and that's not true. Who knows? We don't know. Nobody came back and told us about load reduction. If it was the councillor that went out, he never came and gave us feedback. But they, as a municipality, needs to make sure that it's communicated to the communities to prevent such incidents. Because this is the only way we can get them to come out and speak to us. But still, they fear us.
So is there a possibility that you would return to the streets and that this protest will continue if you're not getting those answers?
Yes, most definitely. If we don't get what we've asked for, humbly asked for, we are definitely going to return to the streets.
Good. Thank you very much. That was Shanice Ferrandale, one of the community leaders here in Rustervaal, just giving us a sense of their decision to call off the protest this morning. But of course, the remnants of that protest that took place here yesterday, Tumelo, are still quite visible. You recall that this particular road, the R82, which is the main road that goes to the Vereniging town, was blockaded with burning tires and rocks, and we're still seeing some of those remnants there on the streets. Of course, we understand that the community is going together later on just to clean up this, what we're seeing here on the streets, the remnants that we're seeing here on the street. But of course, there are issues as far as power outages, the prolonged power outages. Those, they say, have still not been resolved. And of course, they're not ruling out the possibility of taking to the streets again if the mayor does not live up to his promises that he will respond and he will try and bring some resolution to the issues in this community.
Manqoba Mchunu, as of course we await for that resolution and that response, because it didn't seem to inspire the residents' confidence much when he was inside that police van, according to the resident there, not wanting to address the community, almost fearing for his life is what I heard her say. But hopefully they will come back and inspire some confidence and come up with those resolutions. But we'll be sure to keep our viewers up to date with what's happening at Roshnee and Rustervaal. Community members saying that all they've been been asking for is not to have load shedding. If there is load shedding, though, can they please stick to a schedule? That is, of course, understandable. That's reflective to other parts of the country, and not necessarily 20 hours out of electricity on end. That's what residents of Roshnee and Rustervaal are protesting against, the lack of electricity, those prolonged power cuts affecting their day-to-day lives.